The second pattern I want to show you is the banner. Do you see where it says Jesus is risen? I really like using these banners because I could add it to any of these eggs if I know how to make it. So here's my pattern. I'm going to start with the top line. Do you notice this is a curve? And what I would be doing is I would be drawing a real simple curve, real light curve across like this, the whole width of my paper. I will draw a second line underneath. They're parallel. They're about the same distance apart. Okay. That's hard to draw and hold the iPad, so mine is not as neat as that upper one, but you get the idea. Now I liked these ends having this little cutout. And what I did is I would find the space in between here, and I'd make a little dot, not at the end, but in a little ways. And then it was really easy to connect the edges, so it is like a V. And that pattern would also be cut out. Now once you have the pattern for the banner, and you have your pattern for your eggs, you can make as many eggs as you want using different techniques. Here's another banner I made, and I just used my Sharpie to write Happy Easter. I like this banner because I can add it to any of these with just a little bit of glue. I could write different things on them, but I wanted to focus on Easter. So now you have two patterns. They should be cut out. I'm going to start with the egg. And there's my egg. It's traced on my paper. Remember, the pencil lines are only for you. You don't need to make them dark. And you want to decorate, if you're using just a plain white sheet of paper, you want to decorate it. And here's something kind of fun to do. I'm going to flip this over. Tape back on so it doesn't slide. Now I used a crayon on this. Can you see my swirly design? This is a resist. Now you could do this on a real egg. You could use it on those plastic eggs like I have here. Those they look like real, but they're not. I can use those eggs every year. And I would typically use a white crayon, but you wouldn't be able to see that. And I put it on fairly heavy. If you can see my crayon there, I broke it in half, putting it on heavy enough. And I made a design. But I'm going to do watercolor on this. Got my watercolors ready. Got a brush. I've got my water. And this takes lots of water. What I actually did is I sprayed these already with my spray bottle, or you could just run them under the faucet a little bit, because they have to be dissolved. It's not like temper paints or acrylic paints that you can just paint directly with it. It needs to be dissolved in water. And you're going to notice that I put a white sheet of paper underneath because my lid is clear. If I want to mix colors, I would do it in the lid, but because my table is brown and my lid is clear, I couldn't see what I was doing. So that allows me to mix up on the lid. Now there's different qualities of these paints. Some show up a lot better than others, have richer colors. We'll see how mine are. They're pretty new. I'm going to do purple. Purple a lot of times looks like black. I'm going to put it on there. Oh, it's pretty rich. Not too bad. And I'm going to paint directly over my egg. And you can see the resist happening. That the egg is showing up the crayon. And the yellow doesn't look bad. I think I'm going to clean my brush. Go ahead and get some red. Now, to think about a little bit about color theory, the two colors that make red are blue and yellow. Not blue and yellow. Are you listening to me? Blue and red. So if I put blue and red together, I should get purple. It doesn't always work because sometimes the pigments just aren't going to work. There we go. There's a message. And if I want this to mix a little bit where those two colors touch, I'm just going to go back with a little extra water and allow that water to do its thing. It depends on the quality of your paper as well. You may find that your egg starts curling. You really should tape the paper down first onto something that you don't mind being wet. Now I'm rinsing my brush. I'm going to get a little bit of blue. how it looks. Oh, yeah. Now you see in my palette there's a light blue and there's a white. You don't usually find that in watercolors. The white's not going to show up on white paper. Ooh, about that. Lots of water. Now you can paint this any way you want. You could have painted flowers on it. You could have made stripes. Anything that makes you happy. The brighter the better. Now watercolors don't always give you the brightest. If you want brighter colors, I might choose to use markers. But I find it's fun to do something different. All right. And there's my egg. You can see the resist. You can see the letters stood out. Had I used a white crayon, they would just look white. The white of the paper would show through. I do need to let this dry, and when it's dry, I can cut it out. But I'm going to move on to my other projects. Let's take a look at Trixie up there. Trixie is made with 2 egg shapes. Let me go ahead and move this out of the way. Now, I have over here a couple different patterns that I have cut out. I used my scrapbook paper. It was already pretty colorful. Now, if I was going to make Trixie, what I would do for the shell is I would take my scrapbook paper, and if I turn it to the back, it's really white. But this is what I did. The zigzag upper area and lower area is where the shell is on my egg. Can you see that? All right, and I would cut that out, this middle part where the X is. I would set that aside and use that for scrap paper. Now to create Pink Trixie, do you notice she has some arms? When you use your egg shape, you're going to have to draw the arms on before you cut it out. If you forget, just cut some out. They're curved triangles, and you can attach those. Now Trixie also has a beak. If you look inside, I think she's got a little tongue. Oh, there it is. And eyes. Now eyes. I was using the supplies that I had. Guess what? I don't have any black paper. So I did a couple things.